City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.
Hello and welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Weren't you working? There we go. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, and tonight we'll be talking about the game. For Fox's Focus, we'll be talking about the game against Spurs at the weekend. But to be honest, mate, I think there's a lot more urgent matters to discuss rather than the mess than the game against Spurs. It's just an absolute shambles, isn't it, at Leicester at the moment? It's the rumours have been coming out the last few days about Ruud wanting to resign, players leaving like Ndidi, going out on loan, Tom Cannon, being sold to Sheffield United. This is an absolute shambles, isn't it? I just don't know how to start, really.
Well, let's pick it apart piece by piece, Jonno, shall we? And I mean, let's start with the confirmation today that Tom Cannon is leaving us for Sheffield United in the Championship. I can't get my head around that at all. With 7 losses on the bounce, we look fairly, despite one win with results going our way, could get us out the bottom 3. Doesn't look at the minute like we've got any sort of form or level of performance that's going to get us out of there. Surely you'd be hedging your bets, knowing that Tom Cannon has scored quite a few goals in the first half of the season in the Championship and looks like a potent Championship striker. And surely you'd be hedging your bets and keeping him in your squad in case the worst happens and we need an effective goal scorer in that league next season. But we've shot ourselves in the foot, in my opinion. We've sold him. And no doubt, if we do go down, we'll buy some nonsense player in the summer that couldn't hit a barn door with a shovel. And you just think, what are the club thinking? Doesn't seem to be any sort of strategy or thought process behind it at all. Now, that's alloyed from what you read, and I think this is factual, that we've then also gone and secured a loan from an Australian bank. And that loan is secured against future Premier League payments. So what happens if we get relegated? What happens then? Is Top going to put his hand in his pocket and pay that back? I've got no idea, but you would assume that those two things together alludes to a late flurry of transfer activity between now and the window closing, in terms of they're going for broke to try and deliver some players to dig us out of the slump we're in. But again, we're almost 2/3 of the way. Well, we are 2/3 of the way through the month. So if we're only doing this now, why on earth did they not make this decision and put this plan together way back in December? I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I mean, I've loved my club for so long, and I've never thought, when Vichai sadly passed away in 2018, wasn't it? When he had that fatal crash. I don't thought I'd say this, but I think it is time for their family to sell up. I think it's time for them to sell the club. I think it's time to, honestly, whether if he does go, takes over, I want you to kick Rudkin as far as Australia. Please just get rid of the poison in our club, because the decisions he's making are just like we brought in Tom Cannon, who's a really good prospect, and when he came in the Championship, he looked decent. He scored a really good goal in the FA Cup. He's looked really good. Didn't play him for the rest of the season. Now he went on loan from the start of the season. Now we're selling him. Why? Who brought him in the first place if you're not going to play him? Like, I don't care if he's not good enough, but if he's not good enough, why bring him in the club in the first place? Who thought Edouard was any good enough? Who thought Edouard was good enough? The decisions that are being made for this club, and if Ruud goes, hats off to him. You know what I mean? Because he was promised when he came to this club. He said he knows the crap we're in and with the PSR and everything. But if the board said to him, like, we will give you money and you can like £30 million budget is yours. Buy many players as you want in the positions you want. We bought a one player for what? How much was it? 1 point something million?
3 million euros.
Yeah,
Jonno.
3 million euros, and that's it. Championship players are buying more players than us. Championship teams, Leeds have spent more money than us. Ipswich have spent more money than us. It's an absolute joke. I mean, I'm actually embarrassed to say, like, we're an embarrassment to the Premier League. What are we doing? How is this club being run? Are they putting decisions in a hat and go, oh, let's make this one today? You know what I mean? It's just as you said, there's no point, there's no trajectory. Like when we won the FA Cup, you could see what we're trying to do. Yuri Tillemans, James Maddison, Harvey Barnes, Soyuncu, all these really good players, solid players, and it's gone. That club's gone.
You nearly mentioned Kasper Schmeichel there, Jonno, and I'd like to just drop something in about him as well, because he was on a year contract when he went from us and he wanted an extension, and for whatever reason, Rugby wouldn't give it to him. We're in the season past where that extension would have finished, to my knowledge now, and he was amazing for Celtic this week in the Champions League.
He's been the best keeper in Scottish League by a mile. He could play outside the top 6. He could play at any Premier Club and do well. Who are we to say to him he's not good enough? Who are we to say he's not good enough?
That was nonsense for me, letting him go. It's just absolute nonsense. And there's so many things that have gone on over the last few years that you just look at and think, I cannot pick any sense out of that at all. It just shows you that it's become rudderless. It is rudder. I think someone just said in the comments just now it was rudderless. It is absolutely rudderless for me.
I just can't see, like, at this. What manager? What scares me now is what manager is going to come in. What good manager is going to come in and go, right, what managers like to do? The managers aren't short-term things you just bring in for a few weeks and then get rid of. They like to have a plan. They like to have a plan and structure to build up. How are they going to come to this club and think, right, I can build a club around my tactics? Because we've had Brendan Rodgers and we've had Enzo Maresca. Well, the club, I can't put the club to blame for him because he just left. I can't. But Steve Cooper and now Ruben Nistelrooy, all three of them had their own visions about the tactics. And if they had the chance to get what they wanted and then it still didn't work, fair enough. But they haven't had the opportunity. Like Steve Cooper didn't have the opportunity in the summer. Ruben's not had this opportunity in the January. It's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, just picking the bits out of Cooper's summer. I mean, there's some absolute duds in there, and Edouard is probably the biggest one of the lot. To my understanding of that, we can't end that loan without Crystal Palace agreeing to accept him back. At the minute, we're paying his wages. And we can quite clearly see, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of time, but the little bit he has had off the bench and that full 90 minutes he got down at Walsall in the Cup, he was poor. He looked like he couldn't care less. And why would they take him back? But to my understanding, we can only have 2 players on loan from other Premier League clubs, and he's taken up one of them berths. And until we get him out, we can't go down the route of trying to get Dewsbury or the like back on loan because there is no bandwidth within the club to take another Premier League player on loan. Yet we can't. We've left ourselves in a position where we cannot return him. So we're letting other clubs dictate our strategy. It not just mind numbing. It's really difficult to get your head around some of the decisions that have been made lately.
I just can't. I can't see us winning another Premier League game. What players? If Friday gets injured, who have we got? Who? What? Daka? Yeah, I mean, he's had one good game this season. He's had one good. Like what happens if it's like another goalkeeper gets injured? What happens if we bought this new guy. We brought a brand new player right before the was it the Fulham game or the Palace game? I can't remember which one it was. The new right back. Where's he been? Why is he not on the bench? If you've been blind watching Leicester City, the left flank or JJ's side, it's been the worst channel for goals. Every goal, most goals we see come down that channel. We buy a right back, but where is he? Where is he?
The short answer to that is, according to Van Nistelrooy, they were struggling to get the paperwork done to make him available for selection before the last game, which means he didn't have any training time with the team at all and wasn't available for selection. So
but there have been players already bought after him that have been played already.
Yeah, and it just alludes again to these things that seem to go on at Leicester City that don't go on anywhere else. No one else seems to have these problems, but why do Leicester? And why do we always take forever to get a deal over the line? It's all over the forums and social media. Everyone knows it's happening, but it doesn't seem to actually get done for days. Why are we always in that boat when everyone else can just get a job and a deal done within a couple of 3 days?
Who was that player from about 3 or 4 years ago? We bought that player. We couldn't get him over the line. He was like 3 minutes after the deadline.
That was that lad from Leeds. Was that we talked about that lad from Leeds? Or no, because Leeds pulled the plug on that, didn't they? In the last minute.
People in the chat, let us know who.
I remember who you mean. I mean that, just again, an admin issue.
Why are we, Adrian Silva? That's it. Whenever we try to get someone, we're always panicking. It's not going to go through. It's not going to go through. I remember Enzo wanted a player, and it didn't go through last season. Do you remember that? We're all waiting for end of the January.
Sensi from Inter, something like that.
Again, that didn't go through. We're so poor.
But, I mean, he was at the training ground. He'd done the social media videos and everything. From what I was told, that was all done and dusted apparently, and then it all fell apart in the last half an hour.
It's just a joke. Like every decision is just poor. It's not even like it's just bad business. Like there's no good business. There's no future value in any of these players. There's no protection. It's just spending money and we're losing it. I can't. There's no investments being done. There's no play. Our only player of value, I think, is bloody Matt Hermanson. And luckily, he's injured, so no one will buy him. Yeah,
but I think you could probably say with pretty certainly that he won't survive the summer window without moving on.
No, he's gone.
Whether we stay up or not, he's gone. I think we won't hang on to him. I think Maresca will be back for him in the summer. But I mean, let's move on from those and let's talk about Ndidi, because the rumour now, on top of the Cannon departure, is that he's going to France on loan or something like this. Is that right?
I've heard that Ndidi's going out on loan. I don't know where, but I've seen loads of posts about it. But
I think it's Monaco.
I think he's injured. I thought he was injured. I don't know where that came. I don't know if he is injured still. Or if obviously he must be because he's not even been playing.
Well, someone put in the comments a little while ago that some of these injuries are cover stories for other things that are going on. Who knows if that's true or not? But I think we'd say that there is some correlation between our 7-game losing streak and the likes of Wilfred Ndidi not being available for selection for whatever reason. So why would you want to remove that from the squad at what is such a crucial time of the season?
The only logical explanation is that you loan him to bring another loan in. But why make a really bad golf in a position we really need to improve another area of the pitch? Some can argue that midfield is one of our strongest areas in the pitch. Why make it weaker? Why make that another problem? We need a striker. We need, where's the investment in that? We needed a right back, which has been addressed, but still the club doesn't. The paperwork was done late, so we better see him against Spurs. We better see him on the bench or on the pitch. That's another shambolic decision.
I would assume there's been no more news about that. You would assume he's been training with the squad this week and he'll be available this weekend. But I mean, no disrespect to the lad, he might be a good player. but they were a Serie B side last season. They got promoted this season. Palmer, he's not, he's not coming from. He wouldn't be what I class as a ready-made Premier League player fit for action, and that's desperately what we need. We need 3 or 4 Premier League ready, experienced players to get in that squad and start to affect the results.
Do you think it's a season of preparing for the Championship now? Do you think there's absolutely no hope for staying up, or do you think the club can somehow rescue what has been a shambolic decision? Like, club has been on and off the pitch. Do you think we can rescue it?
No,
he has, mate. Yes,
I'm gonna be honest with you, and whilst your heart tells you with all certainty that some miracle will happen and the club will start picking up points and we'll have a Pearson-esque second half of the season and drag a load of wins out and dig ourselves out of. And it isn't that bad. It's not as bad as that Pearson season because we were rock bottom and way adrift. We're not that bad this season. And let's be honest, Jonno, the reason we're not that far adrift this season isn't because we played great. It's because there's a group of teams that aren't getting any points this season. So that's giving us the chance. Do I think we can pick up form and get out of it if nothing changes at all? No, I don't. No. I think we're doomed. I think if a miracle happens over this next 10 days and we manage to get some quality into that squad and Ruud manages to find a formula out of that group of players that can start to pick up some wins, and that starts with stopping that defence from leaking silly goals. I mean, some of the goals we've conceded of late are just gimmies, and you just think, blimey, I'm not sure what these lads are doing in training, and who's getting the grips with that. But he's got to address that, and he's got to find a way for this team to finish the chances they get, and there's a chance, but everything stays the same. We are with Southampton down, and it will be one of a couple of others to make up that third spot.
It is going to be really difficult. I can't. We lost 7 in a row, and the embarrassing thing is that I believe we played well in half of the game in 4 of them. I believe Crystal Palace, we should have scored at least 3 or 4 being outside in the first half. It's not as bad if you play poor all the time and you're like, well, we're just rubbish anyway. We're lucky to be here. We're rubbish anyway. We're going down. It's the fact that we play well and throw away piss poor goals from just stupid defensive errors. That's what frustrates. This is what frustrates me. And
with that Palace game, had we taken those couple of chances in the first half, I think there would have been a different result. But we fluffed the lines. They got in 0-0, and then they came out and righted the wrongs of the first half and picked us off. But I absolutely agree with you that all season under Cooper and Van Nistelrooy, we played in spells of games and not for the whole 90 minutes, and that's just cost us so many points this season.
It's cost us loads of points, and I'm looking at the Premier League as a whole. When you look at teams like Spurs, when you look at teams like United, like obviously we're not on the same level as them in terms of this club size. We're nowhere near them, but we are on the same boat as them with ownership. Everyone's laughing at United and Spurs at how badly the clubs run. Like, Spurs is an excellent business, but they are so bad at playing, like recruiting for a football team. They don't buy any good enough quality players to go on a run, and the players are frustrated. Man United's club is just run poorly, from the top to bottom. We're now in that category. I remember not 6 years ago me gloating how we're the best ranked club in the world. Everyone's lucky to have a man. Everyone's, when I can, we sing songs about our owners. We sing a song about Vichai and how great he was. No other, I can't think of another, fan base that sings about their owner apart from us. And that we're now in the category of the worst ranked club in not just the Premier League, but I can't think of any. I think Swindon comes to mind as a really. I'm looking. That's like bottom of League 2. Plymouth as another one. I can't think of other worst ranked clubs apart from us in the English pyramid.
And if you just think that through and you think of all them teams in the Championship and in some in League One, I mean, look at Birmingham City with their American owners. There is a a whole cluster of teams that would give their right arm for a Premier League berth. You know, we earned that last season. You know, and one thing this recent hierarchy have got right was Enzo Maresca last season. The way it ended was a little bit a bit of pill to swallow, but I think he could probably sense trouble coming. Got a very good opportunity and did the right thing, you know, for himself, which you can't really blame him for. But when you look at that and you look at the fact that we managed to achieve that goal and get back into the league and win the championship, to then treat that opportunity the way we have done this season, with the manager initially we employed, in my opinion, allied with the recruitment strategy and the way the season's unfolded since, this seems like a complete waste of all of that effort and work and time that was put in to try and right the disaster of the relegation that happened a couple of years ago. And it just doesn't make any sense. Given having got back to the Holy Grail, why on earth would you then mismanage it the way we have done this season, to the point where we're almost going to give it up without even giving it a proper, sensible, strategized go? It seems insane.
Like there was warnings, like when Vichai did pass away, there was a few good seasons, like we won the FA Cup with Top as an owner, but then in that run we beat Southampton 9-0, and then the next season we go, I know, let's buy 2 of their defenders from the team that we scored 9 goals against. I mean, that's like go to someone's dinner, oh, they get food, maybe feel poorly. I know, I have a mouthful of that myself. It's just and the player that we bought was on 60 grand a week and played 2 games, for 2 years. I mean,
you're talking about Bertrand, didn't you?
I am talking about Bertrand. What did it? That was when we were playing. That's when we were moaning. We came 8th in that season. We came 8th. We were moaning and saying, "Oh, this is poor. Brendan Rodgers needs to go." Blah blah blah. We were 8th that season. I would love to be in that situation now. That was the first warning signs. It's gotten worse ever since.
If I told you we could finish 8th this season, Jonno, would you take Ryan Bertrand back in the squad?
I'll take Musa back. I'll take Gazelle back. I'll take all of them back. If we finish 8th, I'll kiss all of them on the head saying, save us. But those are just some of the examples of how early this board have been making poor decisions. Like, the last thing they did for me was build that stadium. I mean, not stadium, training facility. Like, we've got a world-class... Every person says we've got a world-class training facility. To train what? To train what?
But, and this is something that was mentioned that relegation season. There's been some insinuation around people that are a bit closer to the club than me that training facility has softened the players up a little bit because they get mollycoddled so much there, and it's and Beaver Drive was a lot more rough and ready back in the day.
Beaver Drive is, you got all the houses around you. You got probably it looks a bit of a rougher area. Not the facilities aren't as great, and I mean, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, right, I'm in a professional place now. Like, I've got there's huge facilities to use. I've got the best physios. We've got the best pools. We've got the best training grounds. We've got, no matter what the weather, we can train inside and outside. We look worse. It took us 7 years. So when did Riyad Mahrez leave? 2017 he left, didn't he? It took us 6 years to replace him. Fataru was the only decent right winger we've had since Mahrez had gone.
Well, there's another thing that's not helped this season: the injury to Abdul Fataru. He could have been, and he showed earlier on that he could have been a real impact on this season. That was a blow, and that isn't. You can't blame anyone, obviously, at the club for that. But
no, it's just like. But what I can blame the club for is that we're relying on a 38-year-old striker to score our goals. He was exceptional. He was one of the best strikers in the league. Now he's not. He's not good enough. And we're going off. I love him to bits, and he's the best player I think that's ever played for Leicester. But he can't carry us. He can't carry us anymore.
And I think these last 2 games, Jonno, I think for me, it's only my personal opinion. I think he did miss a couple of chances in that Palace game. He looked a bit jaded against Fulham. I think they've asked as a club, and the two managers so far have asked too much of a 38-year-old man to keep playing 90 minutes week in, week out, and he should have been rotated with another valid striker this season that could have come in and shared the burden to keep him fresh, because when he is fresh and he's not overplayed for his age, he is still the player that he was. But the amount of games he's been forced to play this season means that he's now looking to starting to look a bit worn out, and you can't blame him for that at the stage of the career that he's at. And it's mismanagement again, in my opinion, of Jamie Vardy, that he should have been protected a little bit from that during the course of this season.
I thought when I've heard the rumours, when I saw Stoke saying with Leicester recall Cannon, I'm thinking, right, the club's really thinking, let's bring the players back, let's regroup and carry on. But I knew why they brought him back, so we can sell him to get money to buy the players. But we're not buying anyone else. It's just
the mechanics of that deal, to my understanding, for what we're selling him to Sheffield United for, means that Leicester's net profit after they've paid Everton the sell-on clause that was in the deal that when we bought him, will make £500,000 out of Tom Cannon.
That's what everyone's wages for a week in the club. It's just there's such. I don't know. It's just. I think it's time for the board to be wiped out, and I think if Top doesn't want to see his dad's legacy being destroyed, he needs to sell. That's my opinion. I can't, I'll still sing Vichai's name proudly because he did win us that Premier League title and he deserves that statue outside our stadium. But his family doesn't deserve this hate that's going to be towards it. Like, fans will start protesting. We'll see banners. It's been over 20 years since we've seen that.
It was ugly at the King Power Stadium on Saturday. I haven't heard negative chanting like that as loud as that for as long as I can remember. It's turned already. People are out of patience with this.
It's not the fact that we could play bad football. It's the club. We're releasing these special shirts like this Vardy shirt. Like, why is it 90 quid? Why is it, what I mean? Like, you're just taking us for fools. Like, yes, you give us free beer and free coaches to away games, but I don't think that's enough anymore. Not if the club is being, the fans aren't stupid. The fans can read articles. We can see the truth that's actually been said about Leicester, and you can't hide it anymore. We're seeing cracks form, and it feels like when I used to watch games and the soul was just so good. Like, everyone was friendly. The atmosphere was brilliant. It's lifeless. It feels cold going to King Power. There's no life anymore. It feels dead. It feels like it just feels dead. There's no soul.
There's not one. I mean, the last few games, you can feel it walking to the ground. You can feel it when you get into your seat half an hour before the game. The whole thing feels wrong. It feels off. It feels like everyone's expecting negativity out of the game and are worried about their football club. And you can feel it. You can feel the atmosphere. Cut it with a knife.
If this is true, we need to protest, because that can't be true. That can't be true. I'm sorry, Andy. I can't believe that. Why is Danny Ward still in our club? Why? He's played for 4 different managers and he's played for a few games. Like, that's the reason. One of the reasons why I got relegated is they said to Kasper Schmeichel, he said, I want to stay until you find a replacement. 2 days before the season starts, we don't need you, Kasper, we'll sell you. He goes to Nice. Then we have Danny Ward all season. The worst goalkeeping performance in a league season I've ever seen of any club ever. He was atrocious, and we still have him.
And just to rub salt in that wound, when Mads Hermansen got injured, for some reason, our club decided it was a good idea to select him in the first team again this season. I mean,
Iverson is better than him in any way, shape, or form.
you try and make the sense out of that. Has Ruud van Nistelrooy not watched our historical games with Danny Ward in goal and figured out that that's not a good idea? Clearly not, because they decided it was a good idea to select him again. And sure enough, it was pretty much a carbon copy of the last time he got selected. Now, I'm sure he's a nice bloke, and I don't want to, call him out on a personal level. But as a footballer, he's not of that level, and it's just a nonsense. And it was a big chunk of. I absolutely agree with you. That relegation season, Kasper Schmeichel leaving and the selections in goal subsequently was a significant part of our relegation that season.
I'm fed up of people saying PSI is the reason we're in this crap. It is not a reason we're in this crap. We're in this crap because the club spend their money craply and we can't recuperate any money. Like, look at Bournemouth. They are a smaller club than us. They are a much smaller club than us, yet they're thrashing us in every aspect of being a club. Their fans are way louder than us. Their clubs ran better. They have better players. They're not in any PSR bother whatsoever. Why can Bournemouth? Why can Brighton? Why can Fulham be run perfectly? And we're, you know what I mean? There's no PSR over them clubs.
No,
why can't
because
we be in that mess?
Because they've basically replicated what we did back in our heyday.
But they didn't fuck it up. Their owners
didn't.
Their owners didn't F it up.
No, and the key for clubs like us and the others you mentioned is buying those gems for reasonable fees and then using them for a couple of 3 seasons and then selling them on for a handsome profit to fund the next group of young, talented hopefuls to come in, and it's like a conveyor belt. And that's how the likes of Fulham, etc., have managed to maintain their Premier League status for as long as they have, by having that scouting and recruitment effective in that way to keep that conveyor belt going. We've started buying duds, and we've started buying expensive duds that we can't get rid of because we've given them big contracts and no one wants to pay the wages we're paying them or pay any fee for them. So we end up lumbered with them, and that is a big chunk of the last 4 years, and the business we've done has just been appalling.
I just can't see a light in the end of the tunnel. Like, if you look at Ipswich, they're in the relegation zone with us, but they've signed 2 players. They've got a loan. Ipswich are in a way better position than us to stay up, and half of their team were League One players. League One players in that team when they came to the trip to the Premier League, and they're doing better than us. Their club is run better than us. I can't comprehend how poor a business, not even a football club, a business can be run. And unlike other businesses, it's hard to see the cracks because it's hard to see that. But in a football club, it's very obvious very quickly when things don't go correctly, and we're seeing the cracks. And it's not going to be long now until those cracks come to just rubble. We're collapsing very quickly as a club. But we'll discuss the game against Spurs. But I don't think it's irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant. I think we're gonna. I'm not looking forward to watching it. I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed anymore. I don't need to be because I know what's going to happen.
The question is, Jonno, what's changed from Fulham last week to Spurs this week? What's changed other than the fans are getting quite clearly more vocal and more angry and more frustrated? There's rumours that Ruud van Nistelrooy is equally getting concerned and frustrated.
He wants to leave. He wants to resign. He was thinking about resigning.
What's changed since last week to give us anything to suggest that we're going to go down to Tottenham and get anything?
I mean, they won today against. I just checked. They won 3-2 against Hoffenheim away. That's going to give them a boost. And typical Spurs, they'll thrash us to boost. Typical Spurs, they'll thrash us to take ourselves back up to the midpoint in the Premier League table. But it's just a joke. I think what's going to happen is we'll play well for 20 minutes, concede, and then the floodgates will open. I think that's my personal view. I think the season's dead. I think the season's dead. I feel lost. There's no hope for me. Even in the Premier League winning season, thinking about Youri Tielemans, if not in the Premier League winning season, in the season we got relegated, James Maddison can pull something off. Youri Tielemans can pull something off. Kasper Schmeichel can make really good. No, sorry, like he wasn't in the team then, but you know what I mean. There's players there to bring something. There's none of that now. I can't think of any players to bring us out of this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see anything more this weekend than more of the same we've seen lately, because nothing's happened to alter that other than negativity. There's negativity around. We've sold Tom Cannon. Rumours indeed he's leaving on loan, and there'll be a buy deal in the summer for him. No concrete or any sort of solid incomings that anyone seems to be talking about that sound anything other than some kind of paper talk. Rumours that the manager is unsettled. Fans talking about doing things in venting their anger in a more organised way now moving forward. That's not the backdrop of a successful game against Tottenham this weekend, in my opinion. I just can't see anything other than a defeat.
Me neither. And I kind of want to end on this. Like someone said, I love my club to bits, and don't get me wrong, I adore Leicester. I love Leicester to pieces. That's my club. I love them. The memories I've got from them, the people I've met from them. This channel, it wouldn't be here because of. So I adore Leicester, but I'm embarrassed at the moment to saying that I support a club, and that it's taking the piss. I think it's taking the piss. We're trying to avoid breaking the rule, avoid PSR rules, and it's just an embarrassment. It's like when you get to school, the kid who like doing all the bullying, he's doing the bullying. It's not nice. And I've got the FA Cup winner flag on the wall. I've got all the shirts lined up I've got the Premier League winner one and all that sort of stuff, all the badges and pins. But I'll always love and adore my club. I think we've now got an excellent history in the Champions League nights. Oh my God, hearing the Champions League music at our stadium was just. I'll never forget that. But this is a shadow of a club that I love. It's a shadow, and it's sad. It's just sad.
It is. It's a difficult period for us because it's painful as fans. But we've got to stick with the club. It's our club. We've got to stick with it, and we've got to give them the best that we can as supporters. But it's difficult at the minute because you can see so much at the minute. This doesn't seem right. This crazy, in my opinion, crazy decisions and no real strategy. And it's hard then to give you kind of
your love and passion for it. It hurts because we care.
Yeah.
We love. It's not football for some people. It's just football. Football's going out to see your mates every weekend, having a pint, going to the game, and when you're losing week in weeks, 2 months we've lost in a row now. 2 months, and it's just it's sad. But no, we're also looking forward to the game on Saturday. I'm not looking Sunday. I'm not looking forward to the game on Sunday. Luckily, it's on Sunday, so it won't ruin my Saturday. But hopefully we win. Hopefully we'll get a win back. But hopefully we can see bright. Hopefully the news might change. We might get a few signings. Football's funny, a footy sport. We say this now, but in a week's time, I think, we're going to love Leicester now.
I think if we can fix all of what we've just talked about for the last 40 minutes in a week, then I'll be delighted.
But yeah, I would be delighted. But again, will that be covering the cracks? Will that be paving over the cracks? But no. But cheers, Simon, for coming on.
Yeah, nice to see you.
We've not had a fun on because Spurs played today and all their fans were watching the game. But we've got Phil's show. So we've got the aftermath show on Sunday morning before the Spurs game. They'll have Phil's show on Monday night afterwards, and we'll be back here next Thursday. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents A variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.